What's up everybody, it's RobinGaming here. So just a few hours left at the moment this video goes live, and it's all going to start. My 12-hour sort of like work marathon, live streaming all the press conferences, making reviews on it is going to start very soon. In some way I can't wait, in another way I'm like, oh man, I like this is going to be so hard for me. But that being said, I'm still super excited for it, of course. And I thought, you know what, I'm going to make it even harder for myself. I'm going to review the Bethesda press conference that we all probably saw last night. Even I stayed awake for it at 4 AM in the night. I was watching it, and I gotta say I was pretty blown away. Therefore I wanted to talk a bit about it. It's not that it was like such a super impressive show, but then again it surely wasn't a bad one. I really enjoyed myself the whole way through. It lasted for only an hour, and yeah, I gotta say Bethesda did a great job kicking this E3 off with their first sort of like E3 press conference. They did a great job there, yeah, for sure. They had a couple of really standout titles, also some that I would say, were definitely not of the same, quality or, it's sort of like the low points of the show, right? So I'm just going to get into it. The great thing about this show, I think, is that even though it wasn't spectacular, they didn't have all these show elements, they kept it real. They just had developers coming on stage to talk about the games they made, that they liked to make as well, and simply give us an explanation while at the same time showing us a lot of gameplay. And that counts especially for the two games that I want to talk about the most. Let's start off with Doom, right? That's what they kicked off the show with. So they showed about 2 single-player demos for Doom, also a multiplayer trailer, plus revealing that there was going to be a map editor. Now, I've never played any of the old-school Doom games. Yes, I know they're real classics, and I probably should have played them, but I never did. That being said, I thought this looked like a really solid first-person shooter. People that I know that really like Doom kind of went, through the roof and stuff. They were so excited and cheering for this game. And like I said, I thought it looked very solid. It definitely wasn't bad in any way. It looked really good to me. The first demo was cool. They showed off a lot of weapons, from shotguns to assault rifles to this huge epic chainsaw that made you able to split enemies in half and stuff. It was very brutal. But yeah, I liked it a lot. Graphically also looked pretty impressive, I have to say. Then they went to the multiplayer trailer, which was cool. Didn't really show too much, but we all know the arena style Doom formula for multiplayer, right? So I think that's pretty much what we can expect from this one again, and the multiplayer trailer gave us a good glimpse at that. The map editor is great because you saw it was very easy for you to simply take certain sort of like map pieces, I guess, and just string them all together in a way that you want, and therefore making your own maps or even game modes and stuff, which is really cool. And then they showed another single player demo where I felt like, okay, they're maybe dragging on a little bit too much. You don't need to show off 2 single player missions, but hey, you can't complain, right? It still was really cool, and therefore I'd say they started off really strong with Doom. I want to quickly get into those games that were pretty underwhelming. So Battlecry was a game that they showed a quick trailer for, and certainly didn't impress anybody, it seemed. I'm not saying that the game is going to be bad, but yeah, they themselves only showed a 2-minute trailer, and that was it for the entire presentation of that game, meaning they kind of already told us, like, yeah, they themselves didn't want to push the game that much because they know this is not what this press conference is about. This is not why people are watching it, but who knows, it could still surprise us. It just wasn't very impressive this time around. Elder Scrolls Online got a trailer, which is a game that already came out a year ago on the PC, is of course coming very soon to the console, so therefore that one also didn't get that much attention really. They announced an Elder Scrolls sort of like card game, so they want in on the Hearthstone success, it seems. Me myself being a big Hearthstone player, I thought it was very cool, but I don't think it can really be as good as Hearthstone is. The community for that already is so huge, and I feel like the Warcraft universe has probably a little more memorable characters and stuff. Therefore, making a sort of like Elder Scrolls card game, I don't think it's going to stand out as much as something like Hearthstone from Blizzard does. But hey, I totally get that they want in on that success, and who knows, it might still end up really surprising us. Dishonored 2, that's one of the big games actually that we already knew was coming because it got leaked by themselves, as stupid as they are. But yeah, the trailer for that was definitely just CGI. So therefore, I myself am not really getting too excited over this. It looked really cool, but because it was CGI, this is not what the gameplay is like. But the first Dishonored was a great game that I know a lot of people enjoyed. I myself didn't play it, unfortunately. I do know it was free with PS Plus, so I might still do so at some point. There's also a definitive edition coming for that on the PlayStation 4, which, also just makes me feel like, because that game already, came free on PS3 now, I don't think I'll be picking up the definitive edition because it's just, probably spending $60 only for some better graphics. That is not really going to be worth it, I feel. But Dishonored 2, great announcement there. A lot of the fans of that series will really like it, you know, and therefore you can't complain, right? So let's talk about the final game, the game that it was all about. Fallout 4. We all knew this is what the biggest focus was going to be at, you know, during this press conference, and I think they showed it for around 20 full minutes, and I have to say, being somebody who never played a Fallout game, I was pretty blown away, and I loved how they didn't just focus on the main gameplay, you know, exploring areas, the first-person shooter gameplay, of course, but no, they also showed off things like the character customization, which was awesome, and they just had these genius ways to kind of like, you know, get the audience to laugh about it and stuff. They, for example, giving the full attribute points to luck, you know, just to like make people laugh. The way that you had the guy like in front of the mirror, you could kind of like customize him with his wife right behind him, and then they switched all of a sudden and you could customize her as well, and it turns out you can play with female characters too. It was really just greatly done. I loved how, you know, the main character now has a voice, you can make choices as kind of like as the BioWare games, right? You have the dog who always accompanies you and kind of like helps you out. They showed off like what, you can customize your own sort of like places, your own house pretty much. And then out of nowhere they even announced a mobile game that is free to play, doesn't have any real sort of like tactics behind it to get you to pay for it. It seems like we don't really know yet. The game is live now on iOS. It's a bit unfortunate, I don't have an iPhone myself so I can't play it. But still, it's just great that they had these sort of like things in store for the fans. And I have to say, Fallout 4, I'm so looking forward to it now, especially with the release date already of this November. They were doing very well keeping this under wraps. You know, people did speculate about it releasing this year, but it's just great that such a, you know, super anticipated game now comes out, you know, almost right after it's being announced. It's great. Like, this is the way it should be done, and therefore I really want to applaud Bethesda with this first press conference that they did at E3. Once again, it wasn't too spectacular, they didn't have many show elements to it, but what they did themselves, showing off some amazing games with a lot of gameplay and just getting their sort of hardcore fans really excited about their games. That's what they did well, and so therefore, you know, I would probably give the Bethesda press conference either a 7.5 or an 8 out of 10 probably, you know, for those reasons. But with that being said, I of course want to know from you, what do you think about it? Have you seen it? Which of the games are you looking forward to most? And then I hope to see you all tonight with the great press conferences from Microsoft, EA, Ubisoft and Sony. It's going to be a hell of a night. I cannot wait for it at the same time though. But yeah, for now I'd like to thank you a lot for watching and hope to see you again next time.
From the place of your birth to the ends of the earth, I've searched only to find